I thought I can share some of my experiences in relation to construction as a career. And the agenda for today is construction, what's past, present, and future, and skills required for employability, skills required for job search. You will know the difference between the two as we go further. How to develop the skills, and what are the choices available for civil engineers in your pursuit about construction as a career. Future proofing your skills. How you will retain your skills in a prolonged way, in a sustainable way, so that your job or your profession is still intact. Mr. Suresh, if the audio, if I have any problem, you can notify me so that I can make some adjustments here. Is it audible now? Clear?
Yes. Audible. You proceed.
Okay. To sum up the agenda, the whole agenda of the day today, I tried to put everything in one slide. Let us see that. Until now, the best vaccine against COVID-19 is made by civil engineers. That is hope. Okay, hold on, guys. Those who want to exit this webinar now, hold on. I have put this slide just to make you understand how construction is closely associated with the humankind from the history. See, making construction or civil engineering as one of the three basic important ingredients of life. Out of that, I can say construction should be second. As of now, we can say food, dress, and shelter. But this construction taken third place after we became civilized and started wearing clothes. So before that, construction was number two. Next to food, shelter was the second basic necessity of humankind since the beginning. To make you understand this, I have put this slide. And construction is not new to us. To go a little further back into the time, so this is supposed to be the first building recognized by the researchers, archaeologists so far. Humankind, um, by all means, the carbon dating and other things, we have the human life history of about 6,000 years, out of which this building, this structure, is in UK now. It is 5,900 years old. And see, if you happen to see this picture in Google, you will see that it is in the circular shape, which means 5,019 years ago, we know circle. Circle also is existing before 5,000 years. And this is the second oldest building known to humans. This is Djoser Pyramid, still in Egypt, 4,690 years old. This is York Minster Cathedral in UK. This is 2,000 years old. This had a similar long construction history is Sistine Chapel, where the this looks to be 150 years old, but this is the longest, biggest, largest project in the world so far, I can say, because the construction duration took about 2,500 years, spanning across different dynasties of ruling China. Over a long period of time, the construction was done, and then this is about 150, 200 years old. Nevertheless, India is not trailing behind much. We had very great, magnificent structures, almost of the similar years. But most of the religious and educational structures, some of the finest universities, were all either destroyed or defaced by the Mughal and British king majority. British monarchy has destroyed during the British rule in India. But however, they were unable to touch one such structure which was created many years before, thousands of years before, because it has become part and parcel of our lifestyle, life cycle, history, culture, everything. This is a dam in India which is 1920 years old. This is the oldest functioning dam in the world. And there was supposed to be one more dam in Syria, which was oldest, built by pharaohs, but unfortunately that was destroyed and then been rebuilt, but it is still not in use. This is the oldest structure, dam, which is still functioning in India. This is an exercise for you. You can Google to know more about this. This is in Tamil Nadu for your information. Okay, so we don't know who has built all these structures, either engineers or just unskilled workers, skilled masons, stone cutters, or sculptors, architects, who has built. We don't know all this information, but still these are standing testimony as of today. But engineering has all these structures. When these structures were constructed, there was no division between architect, civil engineer, mechanical engineer, like that. Only the all the creators were known as architects at the time. Architects were doing only the structural engineering, design, creation, almost site execution, everything together. But as we grow further, then the branches of engineering started coming up, and then there are many stalwarts who laid the path for us to travel. And in tribute to all of them, I have included one slide. And when civil engineering came as a profession, John Smeaton is supposed to be the first known civil engineer in whatever record available to us now. So, in fond memory of them and in tribute to them, I have included this screen for you, and you can note down the names. And if you are so curious about our history, you can Google all these things. So all these the past history I have put it to make you understand where you belong to, what is our fraternity. This is where we belong to. This is our fraternity. We have this long history as a construction as a profession. And the last one in the slide, Karl van Terzahi, was a nightmare for many of the engineering students because he ruined many of our um, sleepless nights with all his soil mechanics formula. So now the present. So the present, what do we have to feel happy about it or bad about it? We don't, since we are already going through it. So this is the first slide on that, the employability across domains. Since we are all talking about engineering and construction, let us talk at the top line, the BTech. Over the last, say, 5 years, the employability of Indian engineers, this is the status, 52, 50, 51, 57, now 2020 is 49%. This is the March report, India Skills Report March. Um, this means about 50% of engineers are not employable very badly. Why this is engineers are not employable? What is the condition? What is the reason? Those are multiple reasons which I am taking it up, but I would like to take up in a different forum with a different set of people because you are not directly responsible for that. Let us see some more glimpses of that. You see the another report, Aspiring Minds, is every year they are publishing the data from 2013 onwards. Now they have given it. You see the middle patch. This says the Indian engineers. This is the rate of employability, and they are fit for only sales engineers. About highest percentage of engineers can only fit into sales jobs. This is what their finding is. Another record says, another study says about 47% are only employable. So we can feel a little comfortable about it because many years before, in about 2010 or 11, this number was in single digits. About 6-7% was were only directly employable. And fortunately, after that, that is the time when I started look back and I started giving classes, lectures like that. And fortunately, in our case, you guys are little lucky because institutes like Prayojana has come, and what has happened in the education sector, many of the prominent colleges, they started recruiting people with industry background, those who have retired, those who have long experience, and then they started gelling with the industry, and then they started slowly modifying the curriculum and syllabus so that the engineer become employable and they are able to meet the industry requirements. If you take the core skill of an engineer, and this is another study that says that these numbers are only in single digits. Look at the civil design engineer, about only 5.03 percentage engineers can be working as civil design engineers. This is the this is the state slowly improving, positive signs, but lockdown has come. The corona has come to cripple us down and started making things worse for us. And this slide, the job crisis like no other, this itself is like 10 horror movies together. This one page is equal to 10 horror movies together. And if you see the another study, because of this corona and this lockdown, and aftermath is shown in many sectors. You look at here, the which sector is getting affected mostly is the sales. And you relate this to your previous slide, most of the engineers are fit for only sales jobs, and that sector is getting affected to the maximum. So imagine what is ahead in a short period, in the short vicinity. And this furthermore, this shows the unemployment rate over last 5 years, and suddenly you can see the last there's a jump in the last. This is about 23 percentage is the unemployment. But already you are going through it. I don't want to bog you down with more of this negative numbers. So let us see what is still lying ahead. Is this going to be like this forever? Is it? This is the end of it? No. So this is all short-term shortcomings of time, shortcomings of this the global crisis, and then whatever is pandemic-like things and all. But the hope is so big. The hope is looming big. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can say things are moving forward, and as a first vision, we can see the manufacturing output scale. In a comparative scale, you can see the manufacturing capabilities of many countries. You can see that China is a $4 trillion capacity of manufacturing facilities are there. Where are we standing? India is about $400 billion. See, population-wise, we are almost the same. Then the land area also we can equate. We can almost say. But to see the production capacity, because we in the past, in the long past, uh, might not have been planned well. So many issues for that. But because of this corona, the China is already losing its sheen, and many organizations and nations are trying to sue the China, and they are shifting the focus from better places where they can do the business little easily. So next to China, the most favorable conditions are existing in India only. And there are a lot of studies already conducted. Every day I'm going through different reports which shows positive signs. One such is recently released by JLL, Jones Lang Leslie, the great places for manufacturing in India. So this, if you happen to, this is a free download from Google. You can go through it. If you happen to see this, you will see what are the potentials and what are the opportunities, what is our real worth, and by manpower, resources, geography, logistics, everything you can say it. One such you can see in the map right side, 8 cities of India, they can access about 90% of population in about 12 hours time. So this is the strength, and only few countries have this kind of geographic advantage. Germany, America, China, India, Japan, and all. So knowingly, the America, the labor cost is very high, and in Germany, the manufacturing standards and then the pollution control norms are very high in all over European countries. So that the ease of doing business is very tough there. So they have to spend a lot. There is no business viability in making in other countries. Only China and India are having this kind of potential with very conducive business environment. So now I think you can understand where we stand next to China. This next business opportunity is only in India. So construction in India is the fast growing. As long as the population is increasing, we are all know that we don't have the houses for all our population in India. We don't have enough roads. We don't have enough hospitals. We don't have enough schools, colleges. We don't have adequate medical colleges. So as long as the population is increasing, there is a demand. There is always a demand for civil engineers in what form or other, in one form or other, in healthcare, building, irrigation, road, highways, everywhere. We'll have opportunities blooming up as long as the population multiplies. There is a need. When there is a need and there is a resources are there, need is there, engineers are there. So it's a question of connecting the dots. So when the dots gets connected, it's just like that. You can see the most promising numbers here. Contribution of Indian GDP maybe 15% in 2030. This may become true also. We hope that this will become true. The largest employer in 2022 and expected to employ more than 75 million people in 2022. And the construction as a market, as a profession, as a business can reach up to 1 trillion USD by 2025. These are the numbers. And for those people who have doubt, how are you sure that we can achieve there? How fast we can achieve there? How sure are you to all these things can be achieved, or at least somewhere near these numbers we can achieve in future? So history tells us. See the slide. So this is the scenario in 2010. We did not have the cryogenic technology, and we were literally requesting the Western countries to share us the technology, to lend the technology for a cost. All of them refused. They don't want India grow. They refused it. So this is at the time, this is the cartoon given by New York Times, and later this is a very controversial cartoon. Later, New York Times had to apologize for depicting India in a wrong or bad connotation. So this is the scenario, and later we worked for about 4 or 5 years. Started from 2013 and 2017. We have completed a mission carrying 100 plus satellites, and that was we had developed our own cryogenic technology, and the cryogenic tanks and engines and spare parts are all manufactured in Bangalore. And we launched our rocket, and that happens to be the cheapest interplanetary transportation project in human history or space history, I can say. So when this is possible, everything else is possible. This is a standing evidence that India has done it. And in the past, we have met several such ups and downs, and India has its own mechanism to heal itself, irrespective of the politics, irrespective of the ruling parties, governments, governance, everything. India has its own mechanism to rebuild its own legacy. So with that confidence, we'll see what kind of employment skills do I need to take on this challenge in the years to come. First is a strong fundamental. This is the first and foremost skill any engineer, a civil engineer for that matter, should have it. When the fundamentals are strong, you can manage any situation, and whatever other skills. When your fundamentals are strong, that will enable you the confidence, and then the. Hello, am I audible? Any problem?
Somebody, somebody's mic is. I will unmute them. Yeah.
Okay.
Please continue.
Your strong fundamental is the one on which you have to build a strong career. So that is why this is the first and foremost thing. And your college or these schools like Prayojana are the places where you have to use of the time to make yourself polish and redefine your fundamentals as a core subjects. Next is the critical thinking. Many people will know What is critical thinking? This is the ability to analyze the information in an objective manner and then aid the decision making process with a reason backed by your knowledge, your observation, facts, figures, data available, your past experience, and all. This is called critical thinking. Then organization skills. When you work in organization, uh, uh, there are two kind of behavior for any individual, individual and group behavior, IGP we called in management terms. When you behave individually, that has some pros and cons. When you fit into an organization, you have to adapt yourself certain things and then unlearn many things and relearn many things. So these skills are called organization skills when aligned with your organization goals, aligned with your boss. And sometime back, one person in one such seminar, one person was asking me, "You are telling me to adapt to organization skills and adapt yourself to your manager. What if I keep on adapting to my manager, and then where is the place for me in case if I have a good idea or thought that can really help the organization? Uh, how do I express it? Where is the location? Where is the opportunity for it?" I told them, once you align with your organization goals, so you'll have a clarity about what organization really wants and what organization really needs. Once that clarity is taken, then that will help you to find very suitable solution or very suitable ideas that will in fact help you to identify more opportunities and then inform your boss at the right circumstance. So this is where the organization skill comes into play, and working under pressure and deadlines. See, the a person's real ability can be tested when he is under real pressure and unimaginable deadlines sometimes. This is not new to the project managers in India and abroad. So this is one of the essential skills to survive in your employment. That is why it has become one of the essential skills. Then the communication and interpersonal skills. This during my MBA as well as in PMP, the communication was referred to with the special mentions that um, the extent of time we spent on communication is enormous. And there used to be a question in PMP that how much percentage of the project manager spending his time in communicating. The correct answer at that time was 95 percentage. But if you see at the real world, it is about 100 percentage. Communication is the essence of management, and that too in project management. And communication means what? With whom you can communicate. You cannot keep communicating to non-living objects. You have to communicate most of the times to people. It is where your interpersonal skills kick in. What kind of communication? What communication mode you have to choose, and what are the barriers in communication? How to overcome it? So that is why the communication is taking place here. Then teamwork, diversity, and difference. So this, since we are working with machines as well as the people, machine has a defined way of working, but the people have a different way of thinking. There are a lot of diversities when you work with different culture of people within India, within states. People talk different languages, different styles, slangs. There are many stories I can refer. Whatever happened due to miscommunication in the teamwork or wrong communications in the teamwork. So there, yeah, we'll going forward. I'll explain. I may pull out one or two and tell you that. Negotiation skill. Negotiation in plain English, it means that only the price negotiation. Actually, negotiation next to the communication and the teamwork, when you put into action, you will be negotiating the hurdles in your work. And then many times when you grow up in the ladder, management ladder, you have to persuade many people. You have to convince many people up and down. There are a few things called managing up and managing down. As a project management professional, or when you sit in the construction site office, you have to manage your client sometimes, and you have to manage your labor sometimes. Both has different styles of communication, different slang you have to talk, different body language you have to show. And whatever style you are talking to your worker or barbender, you cannot talk to the same language, style, tone to your client. So that is where the negotiation skill comes into place here. Enterprise and entrepreneurial skills. So be it the business or in employment, this enterprise and entrepreneurial skills come into picture, plays a great role. This enterprise skill means finding the gap in the system or finding the gap in the market. If you are a businessman, you have to find a gap in the market, what market demands and what the supply is coming. So identify the gaps and try to fill the gap by modifying the systems and services, modifying the product a bit, and making changes like that. This is one of the essential skills. And problem solving skills. Problem solving, there are multitude of definitions given to problem solving skills. So one such example is uh, analyzing the data objectively and finding the right solution which is practicable. Solution anybody can give it. Why the engineering is different from other field? Engineers always find a practical and most economic solution to a problem. That is one of the primary definitions of a civil engineer. If you go to any dictionaries or encyclopedia, finding a solution is not the one. Scientists can find a solution, anyone can find a solution. Finding a practicable, economical solution is the civil engineer's job. To explain it further, you can see many architects have given a drawing with a lot of curvature in the slabs, and then bend, and then like a Zaha Hadid, architects like Zaha Hadid, you see amazing designs, amazing patterns. If you give it to any civil engineer, most of the civil engineers may reject, saying that this is not practically possible. But even I have done one of our buildings in Chennai, the first project I did in Chennai. So we have to find a practicable solution which is more economic. This is one of the challenges thrown by architects. Be scaffolding, be the reinforcement, be the formwork systems design. Everywhere you have to apply this problem solving skills and numerical and IT skills. So when I say numerical and IT skills, it's not only day-to-day computing skills. We have to attach a commercial sense in whatever business solutions or technical solutions you are providing to your clients or to your even to your bosses. So you have to take one commercial angle to it, whether it is commercially viable, economical, and what are the benefits in the long run, what is in the short run. So some numerical sense is always required. I don't when I say numerical sense, it is not that very strong in mathematics. It's not only mathematics, it's simple arithmetic, we can say arithmetic. What job search skills do I need? The next question, when I have all the employment skills, what job search skills I need? Some of you may have a question that what is the employment skill and what is the job search skill? So employment skill will enable you to retain your job, to survive in your job successfully, and enable you to grow in your job. But how to reach there? How to land in your job? That needs a slightly different set of skills, I can say. And the employment skills are mostly a combination of hard skill and soft skill, whereas the job search skills are mostly soft skills in nature. Let us see one by one. One is the positive attitude. We have to foster a positive attitude at all times, no matter what whatever the situation around you, and whoever is trying to influence you, your positive attitude should be always at the top of your showcase. Depend on your strength. Every person has his own strength, weaknesses. Your weakness will continue to be your weakness for lifelong. You can only try to cover up, try to manage. That's all. But your strength will continue to be your strength forever. So you have to try to nurture, find out, identify what is your strength, and nurture your strength so that it grows further, further, and leverage to your professional advantage. Respect yourself. This means take initiative and commitment, because if you don't respect yourself, no one is going to respect. So, what is the best way to respect yourself? You make your own commitment, be true to your commitment, be true to at least yourself, so that you slowly start building your professional image. So, if you keep on doing this, it will build up your professional image uh, in your pursuit to search a job. Perseverance and motivation. Perseverance means doing the same thing again and again tirelessly, irrespective of whatever the result be. Once you are committed to get a job, say for example, today your first aim or short-term goal is to get a job. I hope so. So in this whatever happens, there can be uh, failure in attempt, but there should not be. There can be an attempt can fail, but there should not be failure in making attempts. So that should be your motivation statement, so that your perception, the perseverance never stops until you reach your goal. Be yourself, original. See, when you search a job, you will find some people getting job before you. For example, I got my job before I wrote my final examination. I cleared my engineering in the month of April, but I got my job in March 22nd onwards. So everyone, don't compare yourself with others. Each one is having a different question paper. Each one is running his own race. Each one has his own time scale. So each one has. So don't try to uh, copy from others, because he is writing answers for a different question paper. So whatever you do, be original. Try to be coming from within yourself. So that would be one of the skills. Resume writing. This is like writing your sales or marketing advertisement report. You can have all the skills, but how to present it? But unfortunately, we don't go with a display on our forehead that this fellow knows all the skills. And even if you keep telling, no one is going to believe it unless it is some structured way, it is proved somewhere, or someone else has certified you. So the one of the initial steps in your job search should be your resume writing, how to present your skills. So being a fresher, you cannot expect any big experience. You can't have any big brand names or big companies. So in that circumstance, what you can write, you can elaborate more about your project work. So when I talk about project work, I had a lot of fun stories when I had to conduct an interview for some of the students. A guy told he had that project, this project. When I asked, what is your role? We did this, we did this. I asked, what did you did? And then he did, we did that, we did. And then I repeatedly asked, what is your contribution? What did you did in that? Then he said he was helping taking printout and other things. So this is the kind of project involvement. If that is the case, it will be very difficult to foster your talents or foster your contribution somewhere like this. So in off late, I came to know the students are buying projects, buying projects from somewhere, and they are going for some training to attend Viva was. So if that is the case, you have to further go back to the same project, read further, and then write more about, elaborate more about the project, whatever you have done, what is your contribution, what experiences you had while doing that project, and what are the other skills you acquired parallelly to your education, what are the online courses you have gone through it, and what specific skills you acquired. So you can elaborate these things. Being a fresher, you cannot have working skill. And those who conduct interview also, they know it. They may not be asking some practical questions to you. They know it. Since you don't have any experience, they cannot ask any practical questions. So you can expect many questions from fundamentals and some related to reference codes and other things. So be conversant yourself before going for an interview about the codes and the basics and fundamentals. There are many YouTubes. So far, during your college education, if you have not done it, and this is the time, make use of the time, go through the YouTube videos, go through the online resources, and take help from people like Ashok Kumar in Prayojana. So this will enable you to fine tune and tone up your resume writing skills as well as your resume itself. Then the body language. I don't know how many of you have attended some webinars on body language and communication skills so far, or have you gone through as a course itself? Um, see the power of the unspoken word. I can say body language is called the power of the unspoken word. If you are silent, that itself is a communication. Communication may not have any language. If you are keeping silence also, that itself is a form of communication, that you are disapproving, you are disinterested, or you are not focusing. So this is a communication. Keeping silence is also a communication. And the power of the spoken word is only 7%, and about 53% is about your tone, your voice, and other things. The balance is the body language. So this is the composition of communication, I can say. There are many website and YouTubes and presentations also available online. You can go through it to know the importance of communication. So these are very important when you go for the job search. People, without you knowing that you are communicating to your interviewer, your HR team who are interviewing you. So this is one danger area. You have to make note of it and fine tune your body language and control your body language. You have to observe yourself, where it goes, and then what type of communications you are making. In case if you happen to talk to your close friends, they will be able to tell you what is your body language style. Otherwise, it will be more funny if you keep talking to the mirror and then observe your body language. The body language, others' body language only you will observe. Your own body language, who will tell you? Only your friends, close relatives, parents, mother can tell you about your communication, body language. Then the interview skills. This is the D-Day for any fresh job seeker, how to succeed in an interview. There are many skills in attending an interview and in performing the interview, preparing the interview, starting from writing your resume, uh, reaching the place before of the time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the time, and then presenting yourself to the interview board. And finally, when they say, okay, then how you conclude the interview. These are all the components of your interview skills. So one of the point which I want to give you is here. There are various types of interviews. You heard of it? Interviews are of many types. One such is the stress interview. One is the psychometric interview. These are the two I can recollect from my memory now. The psychometric interview is one. They will give you some confusing kind of um, situations. Both may be looking right. One such situation is you are in the traffic light. The light is still on red, and there is a baby crossing it. And then whether you will cross it or you will cross and then rescue the baby or not, you are in the bike. And so these are the questions. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer to these questions. These are in the psychometric questions. Those questions are there for assessing the personality type. What kind of person you are. They cannot ask you what kind of person you are. You are not going to tell the truth, or you may not be even knowing what kind of person you are. So this kind of psychometric questions will give an indication about what kind of personal traits, what are your priorities in life, and what kind of person you are. Mostly before taking the face-to-face interview, many companies nowadays are telling you they are giving a web link, and then you will go and attend the psychometric test first, and then the following day you will go for a personal face-to-face interview. Based on the reports of the psychometric test, they can change the question, modify the personal interview questions. So this is where you have to have some knowledge about the type of interviews. Stress interview is one. We can say they will increase the adrenaline in yourself and then make you lose your mental balance and throw a question to you. Sounds very strange, isn't it? I'll tell you, one of my friends attended an interview in IIM. He has passed the all the entrance examinations, group discussion, group task. The last such exam test is the personal interview, face to face, and he is a economics graduate. So the moment he went and placed his document, the interviewer, this happened in IIM Calcutta. So he was going through the papers, and then he threw those certificate away and telling that this is a very prestigious institute and you are bringing all fake certificates. First of all, I don't like economics and I don't like people who have studied economics and all. He started shouting, the interviewer, the professor. Then the person has understood it and then slowly and calmly collected all the certificates and put back on the table and told that I like economics and I like people, those who hate economics. So you can continue to interview me, he told. So this is what is expected out of him, and then he had got the seat. So he is employed in a very prestigious organization now. So this is called a stress interview because as a man, when you grow up, or even when you are in the growth path, when you are in the site in charge or even a site engineer, and the laborers or the labor union representatives may come with a big demand or some unreasonable demand and then start shouting at you, and then what should be your behavior? You also um, remove your sleeves and then start fighting with them, or how are you going to manage the situation? So this is why the interview skills also becoming important nowadays. So be ready for a different kind of tests. There are online psychometric tests free of cost are available, and there are online with minimum payment. There are tests available, psychometric tests. You can, if you are very keen about to know about it, you can pay for it, or you can have yourself tested. The report will come. Based on that, you can know what kind of person you are. So the information about knowing more about yourself will prepare you more to face the world. Then the presentation skills. So one such at the end of the interview, or when you go to any certification, or when you go for any, sometimes what happens before you are a site engineer or as a project manager or project engineer, your company will send you to the client office to make this presentation, because some clients are insisting that engineers should come and present it. Because if I work for a company called Sabic, all the engineers, including the civil, structural, electrical, mechanical, even the architects, they have to come and present the project understanding, what their scope, what are they going to do it. So this is nowadays clients started asking for it. You may be having a lot of skills, you may be well qualified, but what is your understanding about our project? If you don't understand our project, what is the guarantee that you will work for good for our project? So nowadays the all the clients forget your employer, prospective employer. Before they hire you, they will send you to the client's office to present your case. They will conduct an interview and they'll tell you to make the presentation. Then only they will tell your prospective employer whether you can hire for our project or not. So this is where you have to tone up your presentation skills also. So one of the key important presentation skill is don't try to put whatever you want to present on the presentation slide itself. When you are making a presentation, remember you are the presentation. The PowerPoint is only the tool. If PowerPoint can say whatever you can say, you can send the PowerPoint presentation in email and sit at your place. So wherever you go and make the presentation, make sure that you are the presenter, you are the presentation, you are the present, not your PowerPoint slide. So that PowerPoint slide should only act as a cue card for you to, as a prompt note for you to what topics to talk about, where to start, what stories to say, and what information you have to add, where you have to add some give some touch up with your personal traits or with your personal experience, or that is the location, that is the opportunity where you can give your personal ideas. Don't put all the ideas on the slide itself. So you need to talk. So this is what I expect as a member in the interview board. This is what I expect, what his personal view or personal opinion. He may be right or he may be wrong, because in a project I have been working about 1.5 years in that project, and suddenly the supervision team, one person is coming with a presentation. He cannot have the same level of information what I have in the last 2.5 years. So this is well understood. You may be wrong or right. Don't bother about it, but you have to tell your opinion, what you feel is right for the project. So these make use of this kind of opportunities to while giving the presentation. Then ability and willingness to learn. This one such job search skill is important for job search, and even after that, the ability and willingness to learn and adopt is a primary skill to grow in your management ladder, I can say, because this skill should not stop as soon as you get a job or you start your own business. This willingness to learn, you have to exhibit and you have to practice it and you have to achieve it throughout your professional career. Otherwise, at some point of time, you will become obsolete. The market will not care for you if you are not learning or updating your skills. So once you have the ability or willingness to learn, the next question is, I'm willing to learn. How to develop the skills? Where do I develop this kind of skills? So this question will naturally come to anybody's mind. And now we will see where and all we can start learning our skills. So one is the skill development courses, the one you are undergoing at Prayojana Institute. So this kind of institutes are playing a major role in improving the employability skills and then imparting the skill set. Whatever we missed in our colleges, they are playing a vital role. There are many such organizations are there. So skill development courses, enroll yourself in this kind of courses. Then knowledge sharing workshops like the one now you are presently attending. Like this, there are so many available. And then with the advent of the technology nowadays, with all the online platforms like Zoom, WebEx, and all, there are so many opportunities with a little cost, or most of them are free. The moment you say you are still a student or still searching for a job, and then people may even waive, even if with the cost, you can approach them saying that you weigh you and all. See, the American Society of Civil Engineers and RICS, they are all having discounted pricing strategy for countries like India, and Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and all. They have a differential pricing strategy, and the Institute of Structural Engineers UK, they have a student membership. You can attend their webinars at free of cost. So you have to prove some credentials that you are unemployed or still searching for a job. For this kind of category, they are giving free of cost access to all these webinars. So make use of these things. They are freely available on the internet. The only thing you have to search for it. Then association with technical communities like RICS, IIT, ARB, then even education institutes like IIT, IIM, they are also conducting some kinds of courses. Some technical communities are there, some engineering associations are there. So, for example, the Builders Association of India is there, and then the Engineers Institute, Institution of Engineers India is there, and Engineering Council of India is there. So they are also conducting some this kind of courses for skill development courses are there. And I have been associating with one organization called the Construction Industry Development Council, CIDC. CIDC and Engineering Council of India, they both conduct many such courses. Go to either of these website, eciindia.org, you will find more information about this kind of courses. Then social media forums and blogs. There are so many. Instead of spending, always you will be spending time in social media. In between those your busy social media schedule, get yourself enrolled in this kind of many forums are there in civil engineering forums, project management forums. Many such forums are there. Steel design alone, there are forums in Facebook, and blogs are there. You can go through that blog and take advantage of that. Fortunately, in India nowadays, 1.5 GB is available at free, data free. Then exams and aptitude testing. This again, say you can learn many things. You can have a mark sheet, but the employers will trust you if a third party, somebody else, not your college, not you, or not the organization, if some third party is giving some certificate to you, third party should be well known in the market, like RACS, for example, and ACI, American Concrete Institute. If you get this kind of, they are conducting examinations. If you pass this kind of examinations, this will be an added advantage either to secure a job or to further your knowledge in your own profession. This kind, and aptitude test is also there. Um, there are many such online aptitude tests are there. Some are free, some are paid. I suggest you can take a paid aptitude test if you are really serious about or in the way of job search. This will this will tell you a lot of your hidden potential, where you are making a mistake, what is your aptitude, and moreover where you stand in the whole market. What kind of people are there, and where you stand in relation to candidates of similar uh, experience and exposure and similar area of interest, where you stand. This will help you to negotiate the salary when you know that you are at the best of the edge. You can negotiate for more salary. So I suggest all of you to take one or more such aptitude test in engineering. So there are in addition to that, I would like to highlight there are some organizations like Neyveli Lignite Corporation, Engineers India. They don't conduct interviews nowadays because they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, and they don't want you to travel to their location, and then they give you the traveling allowance time, and then they don't want to disappoint you. Instead, gate examination, some organizations, central government organizations, they are telling give a gate score. If gate exam, you appear for gate exam for the purpose of going for higher studies, yes, that itself is sufficient for some organizations. I have seen some government of India employment opportunities there are employment opportunities there. Yes. So they are asking for the exam results. This exam itself is enough. There are other examinations where you can fast track your career. I must tell you this. I don't know how many of you are aware of this in your career college. Some professors will be there for career counseling. That counselor would have told you. There is an examination called Indian Engineering Service. This is the IAS examination for engineers. This itself is this examination is like passing engineering for the second time. I don't want to scare you, but since you are fresh, almost fresh, or just finished, or still studying, or going, so your mind will be always in touch with the subject, and this will be easy for you within few years of your graduation. Appearing this kind of examination is very easy. Once you pass IES, you know what happens. You have fast-tracked your career by about 14 years. Because I worked in the government, I quit after 5 years and 6 days. The guys who joined with me after 14 years, now only they are getting the first promotion from assistant engineer to assistant executive engineer. This 14 years it takes for an assistant engineer. This is the entry level position, assistant engineer to assistant executive engineer is the longest time, 14 years. But if you pass IES examination, you would be directly be appointed as assistant executive engineer, AE square, in Central Water Commission, Central Water Board, CPWD, Military Engineering Services, even in the Indian Railways has a similar one, IRS, Indian Railway Service. So if you pass all these examinations, you will be fast tracking your professional career by about at least 11, 12 years. So direct position. So this is one of the boom for Indian engineering graduates at this point of time. So like many such examinations are there, and sadly, the Engineering Council of India for the last 2 years, after so many of us have insisted that you have to conduct some examination, they have agreed to conduct one examination, the proficiency test, national proficiency test, they call it, from 2019 onwards. 2019 onwards, they say that up to 60, up to 40 percentage if you pass, and up to 60 percentage you pass. There are some um, 1 year apprenticeship training they are giving it in the member organizations. Indian Engineering Council of India has many such member organizations, and if you pass the examination beyond certain score limits, and they are giving 1 year's internship or 6 months internship based on the score. Fortunately, in the whole of India, about 3 people only passed this examination. The whole of India, and in every year, India is generating about how much? About 15 lakhs engineers. I don't know how many, but at least 1.5 lakhs civil engineers should be there. But only 3 people have cleared that examination to get 1 year of internship from Engineering Council of India. It is no other small organization. This is one of the very big organizations which is going to govern the professional practice of engineers in India. So such organizations are conducting examination and only 3 people are clearing it. This is one of the sad stories. You should go to their um, website and then see what are the opportunities they have more. And online courses. This is a short term. This not only for seeking a job, but after that also this is going to help, because some organization nowadays in SABIC, for example, I have to pass 24 such courses in a year to get qualified for the next level. Otherwise, they are not going to promote me to the next level or take me to next level. They are not going to involve me in bigger projects. So these are some targets, KPIs, key performance indicators. So they call it as a CPD, continuous professional development. How much you are going through. So that is also important um, to grow further in your wherever you join in the job. This becomes important. Then comes the certifications. Certification you can take either before exam, before securing a job, or even after securing a job. Certification is nothing but a third party um, concurrence that your capabilities are tested by a well renowned third party. So this will accelerate your progress further. There are so many certifications. If the certifications alone needs some 2 hours for me to explain what kind of certifications are there, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, which one you should take first, which one you should take next, like that. I have done so much research because I have myself got about 9 certificates so far, certifications so far from international organization. So I have done a lot of research, which is cheaper, which is costly, which one I should take now, which I should take after 2 years. So all of you should be having some short-term career objectives and long-term career objectives, and much more. So for any of you, some of the question asked is how you want yourself to be seen in 5 years from now. So when I come across this question now, I I had to laugh to myself about what people had answered in 2015, 5 years before, what people have answered 5 years down the line where you want to see, and now everyone is sitting at home in the lockdown. So this is a fun part of it. When you have a short-term goal and long-term goal, you can choose which certifications you have to take first and which you can go last. Um, Here, certain certifications, they need some hours of experience, some years of experience to be proved. Like PMP, you need to have some 4,500 hours of experience in the relevant planning, um, execution, scheduling, and all. So you have to decide based on that. Unless you don't have a check out a long term and short term career development goal, you will not be able to decide on it, or you will make mistakes in the chronology of certifications. So if possible, we can arrange another webinar for certifications alone. Then higher studies. Not everyone is blessed with this. Uh, Higher studies is always good. This should be the before even you search for a job. This should be the first mm, avenue you have to look out for. If this fails, only I suggest people should come out for a job market now. Going forward, how the knowledge management is getting tougher in the real world, and how knowledge is becoming a scarce thing. So based on that, higher studies, there's nothing like that. Um, if the opportunity is there, not everyone is blessed with that. If the opportunity is there, I suggest everyone should do higher studies, regular or even part time. A few years before, when I passed um, my diploma, at that time, whenever I go for interview, people used to ask the engineering graduate who passed. They all shared with me the stories, whether you have passed in part time or regular. At that time, part-time regular was a great thing. There is a great divide between part-time and regular. If you are a part-time, your employment chances you are getting hired, the chances of you getting hired is less if you are a part-time. Now you see today, all of the students in the world are doing only correspondence course. So all colleges are shut down, lockdown, and then now they are all going only correspondence course. So higher studies is nothing like that. Nowadays, it doesn't make any difference. Online, offline, part time, full time. Now everything is same. So you can venture out opportunities if you have, and then self study. You at this age, until at least until you get married, you'll be having a lot of free time. I hope. So you all your free time, spend some more time for self study. Um, we passed out engineering in an era where there was no Google. So we didn't have nothing to self-study unless we have some old books, and that too written by foreign authors, and then all torn pages or something. So now you are all fortunate enough that you are born with all the um, resources around yourself on your palm, so you can make use of this self-study well. And see, there was a study about memory retention for students. When the memory will be retained, about 80% of the memory is retained when you write and teach on the one particular subject. The same subject, if you study, it goes off. And if someone teaches you and you listen, it goes off little later. And then you hear it and you do it for yourself, you will retain it a little longer. But when you write on it and when you teach someone the same subject, it will be retained for a long time. This is one area where which retains your skill sets and knowledge what you acquired for a little more prolonged time. So one way of developing skills and learning is writing on that subject and teaching. So when I started teaching few years ago, my learning also improved parallelly, because every time I teach to the people who are many years younger to me. Their way of looking things, like you, your way of looking things is different from mine. So the kind of questions some guys are asking makes me think a lot, and search answers for that. So this inspired me to read more and teach more so that I can gain more knowledge. So this is one of the best uh, area to develop your skill. So once now you have developed all the skill, what next? Where to go? Which site to go? Contractor site, client site, PMC site, which is very easy nowadays, or owner site, or which side, or supplier side, or which site to go? What are the avenues available for a fresh civil engineer or a budding civil engineer as a career? Let us see some of the options here. One is the on-site construction. I strongly recommend that this is the place where a fresh engineering graduate should land up. If he's very serious about construction as a career, this is the first place and this is the best place for any engineering graduate to land up. To this is the first bridge connection between you and the profession, because what you gained in the college will have a practical sense when you are landed here, and then on-site construction, when you are involved in on-site construction, this will act as a bridge. Then the quantity surveying. I have taken this as a number 2 because the number sense, as I explained to you earlier, it plays an important role in whatever day-to-day activities you do at on-site construction. When you talk about on-site construction, it may be um, full-time site basis or site office basis. This is the, don't think about the office means, or the not the design office, site office based planning engineer or quantity surveyor at site, and then on-site field work together. These are areas. This is where you gain the first-hand online on-site information about what is designed and what is there in the drawing. This is where you will get to know that. So I started like that only, and this has helped me a lot. And I can compare myself with the people, those who have never met at site and then given the design. I have to cite one bad experience of mine. In Uttarakhand, I was doing a pile foundation for a project, and I had the pile design from a professor, and that is the GB Pant University or something. I don't recollect. GB Pant, Gobind Ballabh Pant. Yes, GB Pant University. And the pile design says the depth of pile is 7,687.15 millimeters. 0.15 millimeter. The depth of pile 6,785.15 millimeter. This is the depth of pile the design engineer, ME, the professor has signed it without because he was too busy, so many projects, he has signed it. Then I rejected that, saying that the engineer has never seen the site. They never had any experience, site experience, and he has designed the pile, and then so it is totally rejected, and all I rejected. And many people came, the architect came, even my own bosses came. How can you reject it? This university professor has signed it. I told one simple thing. This pile is under the ground, and this engineer has given a depth of 6,875.15 millimeter. How can we measure this depth? How can we fix this depth at site? How can we first make this depth, and how can someone check this depth under the ground 6 meters below, and he is giving it with a 0.15 millimeter? How is this possible? So he has not seen the site. But if you work that site, you come back to design office and design it. Even if the computer says this number, then you will round off to 7 meters. And even if you to round off to 7 meters at site, we cannot control the depth exactly to 7 meter at site. It will take a 6.9 meter and or 7.1 meter. Both are acceptable to us because it is less than, it is anyway more than our design requirement of 6,800. So this is what the practical sense required. If you don't have the site experience, even if you do ME, this is where you will land up. So completely irrelevant to what is possible at a site. So this is why I'm emphasizing on on-site construction experience for any engineer who wants to start up his career. So then the quantity surveying comes. So this the quantity survey. Hello.
Proceed. Please proceed.
Yeah, the quantity survey role is so crucial in the whole of construction industry because he is the one deciding the profit and loss of a contractor. Why? The contractor might have quoted an amount for a particular job, and then if the quantity surveyor misses any item, and then or if he had done any extra quantity, or he has the engineer has given any instruction for any modifications and is not capturing it properly, the contractor will end up in losses. He is playing a direct role in deciding the profit and loss of the organization. So this is such an important role. I would suggest anyone with interest in numbers. Again, arithmetic. Number mean not cos theta, sin theta, algebra, calculus, integration. Quantity surveying means mostly arithmetic. One who has the number sense, I strongly recommend this kind of roles. You start your career in quantity surveying. As I told you, you have to rely on your strength, and if your strength is on numbers, where you can remember the numbers, uh, you can very well choose this quantity surveying as a profession. Here I have to mention something to you. People may think that quantity surveying is what only client billing and subcontractor billing or labor billing. That's all. This is not stopping with that. As I told you, the profit and loss of a contractor. I can take one reference from one of my quantity surveyors. He used to, when the drawing comes, when he is engaged in a new project, for about 1 month, he used to read the drawing and then type something in his computer. He makes his own BOQs, stage-wise BOQs. He has multiple sheets. He has done groundwork for about 1 month. After that, he used to sit lazily and then start reading newspapers. I was wondering what this fellow is doing, reading newspapers, and then we have a lot of 1,000+ drawings. And in 1.5 months, he had done all the base work. Every month end or every the cutoff date. Every month we used to have a cutoff date. That person used to go on a cutoff date around the site about for 5 hours, then come back, update his computer. When the contractor comes with the bill, he will ask for the amount. What is the bill amount? The contractor will say some amount. He will say wrong. Go back, rectify the bill and get back. Because on behalf of the contractor, on the cutoff date he went and then he has assessed the quantity of work and then he had filled his BOQ and then he had arrived the bill value itself, what the contractor is eligible to get. So that fast some quantity surveys are there. I was amazed by the quantity survey. This quantity survey, I never came across such kind of quantity survey in life. This kind of quantity surveys, if you are becoming like this, or if you are getting one person like this, he is the gem. You should not leave this kind of people to move out of the organization. So I made sure that as long as I was in the company, he was there. He went to on a government job. Then again, I brought back him to the same organization. He is still the same in the organization. So he had a very strong sense for numbers. That kind of people are still there, many. If you are one such person, I recommend you to quantity surveyor position. And then QA, QC, and audit. This is very promising field nowadays. Earlier also it was famous, but nowadays it is assuming more importance because um, the complexity of the project increases, then more people will start checking it, more standards, and as and when some calamity happens, some issue happens, as we evolve in the business, many quality standards, many quality checks, many audits, many certifications in the audit, many processes are in place. So to manage all this, the deployment of a QA/QC person is definitely required. In companies like SABIC, we have two departments: those who are totally independent and not reporting to the project manager. However big the project is, safety and quality, these two people are not reporting to the project manager, not even sharing any information. They will operate directly to the EVP, and EVP has a quality branch, and then quality office, and then the safety office, EHS office. So these two are such important nowadays. So if you have an opportunity for all this, if you have um, a liking for a precision and systems, processes, and procedures, some people have it. Some people have liberal thinking. Those kind of people let loose kind of people. Those who are not fit for here. Those who are very keen on the systems, processes, and then accuracy. So that kind of people can take this kind of profession. And structural engineering. Here, one who is very good in mathematics, as I told you, the uh, integration, differentiation, matrix, all that. That kind of people can take up this as a profession. This is one of the very promising professions nowadays. But in industry today, there are not good structural engineers. There are very good software operators. Those who know how to operate or how not to operate the STAT Pro and other softwares, ETABS, RCTC and other softwares. So they do something, but in the market there are not many good engineers available. And who are good, and those who are really good, they are not working in normal organizations. People pay very high price, and big companies are taking them all. So this is very promising field. If you are very keen about numbers, and in your college, if you can secure good marks in the design subjects, steel, concrete designs, then those people can take up this as a career. It's very promising field, ever growing field, and then this gives a primary status of a civil engineer, because all others you have to say that um, what subsect of engineer you belong to. But when you say civil engineer, it is by default it is understood you are a structural engineer. So that is one pride of being a structural engineer. I am a structural engineer myself, I can say. So this is a real promising field, and once those guys who have already done their masters in structural engineering, they have to choose this only, because since you have already gone through it, you have to continue in the same direction. I suggest this to be the promising field. And tendering and contract management. This comes just after the design and before the award of the work, and during into the construction. Um, Here I have to give one interesting fact. Why a tender is called a tender? Anyone knows? What is the tender? Tender, if you type in Google online now, it will say that an offer and acceptance. A tender is an offer. When it is accepted, it becomes a contract. So how tender has assumed its name called a tender? I have to take a reference from the coconut. You might have taken or heard of tender coconut and coconut. What's the difference between tender coconut and coconut? One stage before it becomes coconut, it is called a tender coconut. A young coconut is called a tender coconut. So next stage is what? Coconut. So like that, tender is an offer. It is called as a tender because one stage before it becomes a contract. Once the offer is accepted by the client, it becomes a contract. Just because it is one stage before, it is called tender. The word comes from tender coconut, not tender exact change from in the bus. You could have seen tender exact change. The conductor used to have this word. So it is not from that bus. It is from the coconut. So this is for your understanding. This fun fact. Um, so this is one of the ways where the client interests and the contract interests are protected by means of a common document called contract, and this governs how the dispute to be resolved, and how each and every aspect of the contract to be resolved. What are the obligations of each party, and how in case of termination, who can terminate whom, and what circumstances we can terminate, and all the definitions are mentioned here. Um, Here I have to identify one thing. When you read the tender or when you prepare the tender document, there are few aspects you have to consider in mind, and that too in a big project like engineering, procurement, and construction (EPC) project. There are so many things we have to consider while preparing the tender itself. And as a first step, I can tell you, for example, there is a word called contractor. The contractor means um, there's another word called contractor with capital letter, C in capital letter. Another word, all small letters. These two are not same in contract language. The word contractor with capital C is different, totally different from the word contractor in all small letters. Because all the words which are in capital letters or which starts in capital letter in the contract, it is designed somewhere. What is it the meaning of it? Contractor means someone who has agreed to do some work for a price as per the provisions of this contract. Like this it is written, that is capital C contractor. If it is small c contractor, if it is to be done by a contractor, contractor can come and tell you. On occasion contractor came, yeah, it is mentioned that it is done by a contractor. Yes sir, it is done by a contractor, but maybe any other contractor, maybe you appointed your own contractor or any other contractor, not me. Because he argued, because the contractor word is not there in capital letter. So he says that whatever contractor says that in capital C, it is me. If it is not there, it is not me. So this is how one contractor started arguing with me. One small mistake has created an extra cost for a contractor or extra scope for a client to spend on. So this is the importance of tendering and contract management. So one who has an eye for details, for those people, I recommend this trade, this area to go with as a career option. Drawing, drafting, and detailing. Again, this is a very old area of uh, representation of project. Before even it started, these are the people, those who build the project in 2 dimension, what is going to be built. And after this only following this only specification comes, and after that only the BOQ comes. This is the flow of document. First is the drawing, and then the specification, then the BOQ, then the contract. So these are the primary people. Those who have a detail for eye, those who are very patient, those who have the patience for drawing and then detailing, they can take this as a career profession. This has another lucrative attraction, I can say. So earlier, these people were called as draftsmen, structural draftsmen, architectural draftsmen. Now there is a new set of species is emerging out of this profession. It's called BIM. The BIM itself needs 1 day of discussions to see the opportunities available in BIM. To give you in one statement, I can say BIM means opportunities unlimited. Because as a next indicator, I can say that BIM alone offers about 35 different job categories. Can you imagine? This one has 35 job categories, job roles, JDs. 35 JDs can be created in BIM as of today. I'm telling you, as of today. And as we go further, the roles are keep added every day. And India and Egypt are the world leaders in BIM development now. There are many in the world. There are big names across the world. But I have seen, working from abroad, I have seen um, Indians and Egyptians are very good in developing the BIM and using the BIM and teaching the BIM. Everything we are there. There are BIM forums. There are BIM AutoCAD. BIM Academy is there. Everywhere I can see only Indians and Egyptians. Last month, a lady from India won the award in Dubai. Uh, uh, some competition held for BIM user competition, BIM forum competition. So this itself is about 1 day or 1.5 day we can talk about BIM. That many opportunities are there. What is here? I want to spend some more time on that. So earlier it was only two-dimensional drawing information, and then this has offered many disadvantages. The role of the drawing is only acting as a reference document during construction, and very rarely it was giving clash deductions. When I was working in India, when I asked about give critical sections, the contractor as well as the detailing architect, both of them took sections at the most comfortable place and shown sections, and this is how the MEP services are going. I asked a section at the most difficult place, but that section never came. That was left for the site engineers to deal with, break their head, cut the lines, and then take it up, take it down, rework, and then break open the wall in a different location. All this happened. So BIM provides uh, all the solutions for all these problems, all today's problems. BIM provides solution by creating a digital twin of the construction. What is called a digital twin? See, when you do the prototype, one disadvantage with construction, you have to do it correct at the first time itself. If you take a manufacturing industry, they design a car and they make a prototype. They subject it for multiple test, speed test, crash test, this test, all test. Then only they will start the real production. But construction is little different, little risky. To have a to construct a 10-story building, we cannot construct a 10-story building, demolish it, test it in the wind, and then we cannot build it. So the prototype is only one time, and that time, first time itself, we need to build it correct. So that is a challenge of construction, unlike manufacturing industry. And BIM offers a beautiful solution for it. We are creating the building digitally before it's being constructed. The drawing is only the line information, but BIM has much more information about the building, where it happens, at what height it happens, what is the thickness, what is the characteristics, the specification, and the drawing put together. Imagine the drawing is there in rolls or AutoCAD, and then specification is in books. Join these two together in digital form. That is the BIM in simple terms. But BIM has multiple dimensions, multiple directions, multiple uses, multiple users, I can say. So one of the dimension I'll explain a little bit more about here. BIM has a level of development and level of detailing. So if you say level of detailing, 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, like that it goes. And the level of development also it goes 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, like that. 100 means it's only a concept design, and 200 is only the preliminary design, we can say, and 300 is the BOQ stage. We can take about 90 percentage, 95 percentage BOQ. We can take out from that, and we can go for bidding about it. And then LOD 350, we can have a full BOQ about it. 400 is about shop drawings, um, the field level drawings. LOD 500 is the uh, maintenance and operation information. If you include maintenance and operation included, that is called LOD 500. And there is this is called a level of detailing. It's called level of development. So who are all going to be used in that? The concept design, only owners and then PMC will be using it. And then pre-construction, only owners and PMC. And when it goes to 300 and 350, the contractors will be using it, client will be using it. Contractor will bid, make their bid based on this BIM model. And once the work is awarded, the contractor will further develop the same BIM to LOD 400. And if the client is paying much more, he can add the um, operation and maintenance information. What is this operation and maintenance information? For example, there is a light fixtures, and we know what is the dimension, what is the location of the light fixtures. And if this is up to BIM 400 as built, we can say. But when we go to 500, they have to add what kind of light fixture is it? What is the characteristics of light fixtures? What is the efficacy of the light? What wattage is that? Who is the supplier? What is the do's and don'ts? And what is the contractor contact information in case the bulb goes fuse? Where to go? All this operation and maintenance information is already inbuilt in the bin. That is called LOD 500. There is another dimension. This is our BIM. Basic BIM is already 3D. Add a time impact to it, add the time factor to it. It's called 4D. And you add cost to it, it becomes a 5D. Like that, it goes up to 12D. No, it goes. It goes a sustainability. It goes the risk. It goes safety. Like that, if you add once you add one and more detail to it, the dimension keeps on increasing. So far, they're thinking about uh, 12D BIM. Now it's being created in UK. I know of a company called Buffer BT. Those who have their back office in Banaswadi here, they are making the digital twin of all their projects here in India. They not only it gives information about class detection and then pricing, operation, maintenance, but also they can track the project progress and then quality they can track, safety they can track with this, and then cost also they can track. All these are being tracked from Bangalore for all the projects they conduct. They do in the UK, all across UK and Ireland, whatever they are doing, all the projects are being governed by here. They have the back office in Bangalore. So this is the level of BIM usage or flexibility, and how far it is going to haunt all of us in future. And BIM, I can say it is a blessing for ladies and architects or those who don't want to go to any of the above careers which is site based. Some people always would like to sit in comfortably in the office, and for ladies, now you are unmarried. Until marriage you can go to any location, relocation, go to even to site or site office. But after marriage you have to take a break, and then your priorities get changed for ladies. So when they come back, then they will struggle a lot. So if they go for a BIM during their maternity time, or before even that, if they had already taken BIM as a course for some time, when you come back, it will be very easy for you to get job, so that you can develop the BIM model from the comfort of your homes. You can have your own flexibility without compromising the family challenges. You can still take on your career. After a short break, you can restart your career in the same manner. So that way, BIM offers a lot of opportunities, even for people like ladies, who need to have some break in their career life. So what else? Every day, even I am attending courses on BIM. So what else to say? So if you are not learning BIM or some form of BIM in future, in next 5 years time, you will not be a preferred employee after 5 years. This is the condition here. Every company is now going for digitalization, and then because of this COVID-like situation, we don't know when we will encounter such situation in future. May it be because of the disease, may it be because of the war, or maybe because of cultural differences. So everything BIM provides a solution for that. In case if people cannot travel, they can do the consulting, or they can monitor, track it from remote zones. So Sabic, we are already using some form of BIM in our plants, PDMS, and then we further developed some form of BIM. It's not called BIM in oil and gas language. It is called with the PDMS and then DCS, something like that. So integrated DCS we call. One such BIM is called integrated DCS. Uh, so that is all about BIM. I strongly recommend all of you to undergo one such course at some level or other, to equip yourself in future. Then material management. This has a this is a supplementary or support services. This is not a direct field engineering. As the projects go complex, and the a lot of new materials coming into everyday life, and there are many requirements, like that. For example, recently the FRP rebar is released, and we started using it. In one of the project in Bangalore, I had to use a stainless steel reinforcement because I was installing a magnetic resonance something. I did it magnetic resonance imager or something in a research laboratory. They told there one of the condition is about 2 meter diameter or 3 meter diameter. There should not be any metal parts which attracts magnets. So I had to search for stainless steel reinforcement in India, and then I used the stainless steel. At that time, there was no FRP reinforcement. Now even SABIC started producing FRP reinforcement. Like that, every day there are a lot of advancement in material. Um, the glass as a material is used for many years, but nowadays only it started gaining most importance because it improves aesthetics, flexibility, lightness to the structure, and then a lot of other values. So this is a specialized service, material management. There are many certifications also in this field, uh, materials management. Those who are resourceful, that those who have connections at suppliers, those who want to travel to many places, that kind of people can take up this kind of profession. Then the specialized services. Specialized services means starting from geotechnical. The first field activity is geotechnical. What kind of soil is there below? And next, almost similar time, the land survey will start. These are the specialized services: geotechnical reporting and the survey report. Then ground penetration survey. What is there below the ground? Not only the soil, there may be old lines, power lines going, pipelines going. There may be old foundations. This may be coming in the way of pile foundation. All these need to be detected. Nowadays, this becomes mandatory for any contractor to engage a third party ground penetration surveyor, and then he will produce a report. So this is one of the surveys. Then waterproofing is a service. Then fireproofing is one of the services. Like that, there are innumerous specialized services are there in construction industry. Those who have venture into different options, or those who have opportunity to import new kind of materials from abroad, can venture into this material management and specialized services. Then now comes the project management, which many of you are fascinated. I must tell you, there is nothing to get fascinated or excited about it. It is all about acid test, acid test, acid test. Is project management. I have taken this as a almost lost thing, because this this has a different set of skills. Don't confuse yourself with engineering and project management. If you want to be a civil engineer, you can continue to be a civil engineer. You want to be a project manager, and you want to go in project management line, that is totally different. No way connected with the civil engineering. This may be strange for you, that how you can say no way connected with civil engineering. You are an engineer. This is an advantage. I must tell you this: to become a project manager, you don't have to be an engineer at all. Is one of my big project, and the company is Bechtel Corporation. The project manager is not an engineer. He's a MSc um, archaeologist. Can you imagine an archaeologist to become a successful project manager for an oil gas industry, that to a company like Bechtel Corporation, the largest project management company in the world? So this proves that one need not be an engineer to become a successful project manager. So here you have to make a choice to continue as a civil engineer, or to become a project manager. So these are important decision you have to make, because project management is not a position, it's not a designation. It is a, I can say, way of life. It is a role to be played. Anyone can play the role. 2 days before, a gentleman called Praful, he asked the question that I think he is a civil engineer. Why a civil engineer should not be a project manager? And one person called asked why architect only can be a project manager. Why I cannot be a project manager? Anyone can be a project manager, provided if you have the mindset. Project manager needs is a different kind of uh, community. Project management is a community which requires some skill set, some mindset. That if you have that mindset, anyone can become a project manager. To become a project manager, you have to start at some level, not as a project manager. No one can become a project manager. In SABIC, we hire all big EPC contractors and companies. Companies like Bechtel Corporation, Turner International, then Technip, Wood Group, Mott McDonald, all the big names. All the project managers invariably I have seen above 50, 55, 60, because it takes that much beating to take before you become a real hardcore project manager. So for that, maturity level will come at that age only. This is what the mental maturity. At that age, if you don't lose your mental stability, you are good enough to handle any big project, multi-billion-dollar projects. So I have seen such project managers here every month at least. So you have to make a decision here. You have to start as a project coordinator or a project engineer. Don't bother about I have done my MArc, I have done my ME. How can I start a project coordinator? So don't have that kind of feelings. I am involved in many projects, almost 8, 9 projects I am involved. But two or three projects I am the project manager, and 3 projects I am a project engineer, and in one project I am a civil engineer, because it is a multi-billion-dollar project, and then the project manager is not an engineer, and then many PhDs are working under him. I'm telling you, many PhDs are working under him as a soil scientist, soil specialist, and then the pile specialist, then the electrical engineers. There are many PhDs are there in that. They are all working under him. In that project, the size of the project is very big. EG3, ethylene glycol plant, we call it. It is there in Jubail, Saudi Arabia. So in that project, I am a civil engineer only. So the role may change from project to project. So to attain the project manager level, if you are a project manager level at a small company is different from a project manager in a company like SABIC. Those two are two different things. It takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of hearing. It takes a lot of beating behind it. A lot of training. A lot of mental makeup. Uh, Learning, unlearning. Many things have to take place. Refinement has to take place before you become